What is going on? What is going on? What is happening, my friends? Thank you so much for tuning in to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin podcast. This is a show where we discuss trending stories and thought-provoking topics in the fields of politics, sports, pop culture, you name it, all the above. We are going to be having an amazing conversation today. So excited to have my dear friend, Dr. Eric Claville. He is a political and legal analyst. He's the director of Center for African American Public Policy at Norfolk State University, and he's also the host of the programs "The State of the Water" as well as the Claville Report, the award-winning Claville Report. And excited, I happen to be a colleague of this gentleman. You can tune into his shows every Sundays, the State of the Water at 10 a.m. every Sundays at 10 a.m. on WNSB 91.1 FM, as well as at 12:30 a.m. You can tune into the Claville Report, and be sure to go on YouTube and subscribe to the Claville Report. I happen to be a fellow subscriber. He has some great insight, just great information. I'm always excited to get his opinion and get his expertise on this, because as a young individual continuing to learn when it comes to local politics, state, and even federal, it's always good to have those always make sure you get the prime information, right? Make sure you get the right knowledge. And I always recommend here on this program, what happens in your backyard is so important to know your local governments and local state government. So very excited to have my dear friend. Let me bring him on right now, Dr. Eric Claville. Dr. Claville, how you doing, my friend?
Very good, very good.
Awesome.
I'm a huge fan of yours as well. What you're doing is absolutely phenomenal, and definitely keep it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And again, I've mentioned before, you, sir, are in my mind where people in Hampton Roads area, really in the state of Virginia, we go to you. We go to you when it comes to, hey, Dr. Claville, what do you think about this election? What's your take on this current race going on? I mean, you're the political and legal analyst for a local CBS affiliate, WTKR, here in the Hampton Roads area, and you're spot on with the information. So I know you are a very busy man, so I thank you so much for taking the time out your busy schedule, coming here on the pod. We're just gonna get into it with the conversations. So the first thing I want to bring up, we're in a very divisive, divisive time right now in our society. When it comes to politics, it's not easy discussing politics amongst friends or at the dinner table with family, because if everybody has different opinions, God knows how the conversation is going to end. And a lot of that comes to what they watch, where they get their information from when it comes to news media, whether that's newspaper, radio, TV, etc. So I wanted to quickly bring up this topic, the importance of unbiased news media outlets. We have, of course, outlets like Fox News, which is predominantly conservative. A lot of people, they have their agenda. You have your CNN, which was is fairly more more left. Likewise, MSNBC, and now you have a new network called News Nation, which their whole mission they've been promoting is unbiased news, fairness, things like that. They've brought in people from CNN, they brought in people from ABC, they brought in people from Fox to kind of mix it up and bring on just the news. Dr. Claville, what's your take? What can you say about like how important news media and just media in general is, like, as far as a tool for people to get their knowledge when it comes to politics?
Well, Arrington, you bring up a very, very important point, because what we hear and what we see, it shapes our opinions every single day, whether it be what we eat, how we dress, what we think, especially and also about politics and how we view the world. Mm-hmm. That's why imagery and how information is given is so important. Now, I grew up on the Dan Rathers, the Walter Cronkites, Peter Jennings, and individuals like that that gave it to you just straight. I remember Dan Rather and a lot of those veteran anchors that are no longer on the air, they're retired, but you will see them on the ground in Vietnam and in war-torn places, reporting as the action happened. Mm-hmm. So to fluff and it's hard to spin, what's happening right there. So that's the type of news that I grew up with, the type of reporting. You also had a lot of beat reporters, a lot of individuals that were given information and interviewing individuals. I mean, it was really that, so really right now where we're at a lot of corporations that are controlling our news outlets.
Mm-hmm.
With corporations, it's all about the bottom dollar. With corporations, it's all about making sure you lock in and get the clicks now with social media.
Yes.
It's very important for us as consumers of information, as adults and as citizens of this country, really to do our own research and reading. Reading is seems like a far gone pastime now. By being able to pick up an article, read it, information as you see it, and make sure that you are interpreting the way that you believe is best for you. Now, one of the things that I also believe is good is as we listen to things like C-SPAN.
Mm-hmm.
C-SPAN is the most unbiased news reporting that you're going to get because it gives it to you just the way it's happening live. So that's the most unbiased you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm probably one of the persons in America that wake up to C-SPAN and the call-in show. And
you are the only person, Dr. Claville. I just want to let you know that when you said C-SPAN, I got a little tired just when you saying. I'm like, oh my goodness.
But again, it's breaking news is developing as it is, and a lot of things that usually happen like a year or two later. I saw it first on C-SPAN, right?
Mm.
Also listening to local shows like the Claville Report, like your show, like Barbara Ham Lee's show, Another
Absolutely.
View, and just local talk shows and your local news outlets. Those also help to give you unbiased opinions, and also your newspapers.
Mm.
So subscribing to those publications really do help. Now, here's a problem. Just quick 30 seconds. We're all working. We're all trying to make ends meet. We're all trying to live our best life. So who really has time to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to listen to Fox News, also listen to MSNBC. If you're going to listen to C-SPAN, CNN, also listen to News Nation. Make sure you mix it up to have some type of balance.
I couldn't agree more, Dr. Claville, because all my friends, they always consider me like the young old man, because I'm 28, but I'm a news junkie. Okay, I watch them all. I honestly, what I do is I'll just say, okay, Monday I'll watch majority say Fox News. Okay, tomorrow I'm gonna watch majority CNN. And then towards the end of the week, I just I love it. I'm a subscriber to Sirius XM, I'll listen to different outlets, and I'm always loved because I want to hear multiple sides, and that's what it benefits me because I have a lot of friends that come from different sides of the aisle. And I mean, hey, they're my friends. I'm like, you're always entitled for your opinion. I mean, it's just, it's okay to it's okay to agree to disagree. So I truly, truly push that here on this program when I have on people from multiple sides, because I'm like, hey, look, as young people, we can't keep ourselves in a bubble. We have to be well informed on all avenues. So I truly, just to piggyback what you just said, make sure you tune in. I'll try and watch some C-SPAN just because you said so, Dr. Claville. I'm gonna try, but I'm telling you right now,
listen, you got C-SPAN 1, 2, and 3.
Oh my goodness, like ESPN. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me. Man, well, I just want to start off with that one, but let's go ahead and move on to our local elections that we have coming up soon. So publicly, they've already been mentioning about say the Portsmouth mayoral race. Now, the state of Portsmouth is, I mean, that's a whole nother show in itself. It's been a lot of issues happening, of course, when it comes to crime, when it comes to the issues happening on the city council with disputes and issues, the rehiring and firing and hiring and firing of the city managers, and then you move on to at least the progression when it comes to their casino. So a lot of attention has been brought to the city of Portsmouth. I wanted to ask Dr. Claville, how important do you think this mayoral race, this upcoming mayoral race, because only so far two people that have been mentioned in this race, and that's current mayor Shannon Glover, who announced he will be running for re-election, and then also current vice mayor in Lucas Burke, I believe, she will be running for mayor as well. How important is this election, for Portsmouth?
Well, Arrington, you mentioned the state of Portsmouth, and you're right. That's a show within itself. That it's one of those cities where it's small, but it's really important to the economy of Hampton Roads and also to the Commonwealth because of its position, where it's geographically located, its historical significance, and also the support for our military as well. But this election is very important. We have, of course, the incumbent, Shannon Glover, who is running for re-election, but also you have the vice mayor, who's also the daughter of the most powerful state senator here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's definitely going to be a fight. It's definitely going to be probably the most important mayoral election probably in the last at least 10 years, but I would even say for the next 2 decades, the last 10 and the 10 coming, because it's all about the economic agenda. Can this mayor, whoever will be the new mayor, push the economic agenda to move Portsmouth out of the gossip column into the economic growth column, right? Schools, housing development, ensuring that Portsmouth is a destination place as opposed to a place that's always in the news for something else. And who will be that mayor that will be the leader to clean up local government? So this is a very important race, at least for the next 2 decades.
Wow. Didn't realize. And then on top of that, with Portsmouth, I mean, all their bad is overcoming their good, because as far as the good side of Portsmouth, I mean, you have the historic delegate Don Scott, who is the first African American House Speaker for Virginia State. You have, of course, Senator Louise Lucas, who is I was listening to a conversation on radio when actually it was on TV. They had mentioned her as the second most powerful woman in the state, second to really the Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears. I mean, Senator Louise Lucas has that resume in the state of Virginia on really.
I would even argue she's more powerful than Lieutenant Governor, given her position, not as President Pro Tem, but as the Senate and Senate Finance and Appropriations Committee. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, that's not all. That's not the only local race happening coming soon in the Hampton Roads area. We also have our Virginia Beach mayor's race. It has been announced that Sabrina Wooten will be entering the race. She represents District 7. You also have Chris Taylor, whose name has been mentioned on that list. He's the current councilman representing District 8. You have also former Councilman John Moss that's going to be entering the race. And then, of course, current Mayor Bobby Dyer seeking a re-election. I mean, with this race, you have obviously, a chance for Virginia Beach having their first African-American elected mayor. But I think when I look at this list of people, I look at the age, and one of the candidates, I won't say who, but as had mentioned, it's time for some youthful leadership, and age has been really kind of like the topic when it comes to politics is age. What can you say about what's happening in Virginia Beach?
Well, to your point, it's a crowded field, and Virginia Beach has seen some historic change over the last really half decade. So we know. Let me first start with the case that was filed by Holloway versus City of Virginia Beach that changed the way that City Council is elected. That was monumental. First of all, it should have never had to take a legal case to change it, but we do know with equity and voting rights, that's how we have received equitable and voting rights and a seat at the table. So basically, now city council members are elected by wards or districts. This is similar to our state system, our federal system for U.S. congresspersons and the like. With this, it creates a more even playing field for all citizens of Virginia Beach. Because of that, we also saw the historic election of 3 African-American state legislators. That is 2 delegates in Alex Askew, who was reelected after losing an election, but now it's his second stint. Michael Fagans, who is the freshman delegate, and of course Aaron Rouse, who is the senator out of Virginia Beach. Historic. Virginia Beach, 3 African American males.
That's
This
unheard
happened because of, in large part, I believe, because of this lawsuit that was filed by
of. Wow.
a single mother,
Wow.
NSU graduate, right? Michael Fagan's NSU graduate as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at the power, and of course, Alex Askew, Hampton graduate, you look at the power of HBCUs and the graduates and the changes they're making. Now you fast forward to the mayoral race. The mayor's race for Virginia Beach, I think, is going to be monumental because, to your point, youthful leadership, but not just youthful, but just some people may see this as a time for change
Yeah.
overall. Now, what type of change? That all depends upon, the actual electorate and how they feel Virginia Beach should go. I think because of the progress of equity and
Mm-hmm.
equitable opportunities, okay, equity and equitable opportunities, not nothing that's given, but something that is an even playing field.
Mm-hmm.
That Virginia Beach will see a change either in the actual mayor itself, or if the incumbent does win, it's going to be a totally new agenda. Because keep in mind, you know, he survived a very long time, and he survived not just staying away one way, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely survived changing with the times. And I believe that if he is reelected, the incumbent, he will definitely change with the times. But it is an opportunity for possible new leadership.
Interesting, and I'm really gonna be even though I'm a Chesapeake resident, I find this race very interesting because and I happen to know a good portion of the people that serve on council out in Virginia Beach, and I will be having Sabrina Wooten and Chris Taylor on the show coming up soon. And I've mentioned on my program before, and even on a friend of mine, Conrad Shesventer, shout out to Shez, who's a very informative guy as well. I told him honestly, Chris Taylor it's quite to me it's a gamble. It's a gamble only because very newly elected, hasn't been really a full year for him in council, and I understand it was almost like a huge shock when he first won the election for council, and now saying, okay, look, let me take this leap, because win or lose, he has to resign from his position in council. So it's like, okay, are you going to start from scratch after this? What's going to happen? So I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, it is, but again, it's also a step up if he does win.
Mm.
You know,
That is true. That is true. Council's nice, but May is even
right.
has a little sweeter to it.
Again, that's if he wins. So it is a gamble.
Love it, love it. Okay, okay. Let's go on to uh the presidential race, right? The presidential race is by far the most, I mean, everybody always loves when it comes to the federal. That's what a lot of people tune into, the national news. This presidential race has been a soap opera. I mean, it you can go from the countless indictments against former President Donald Trump. I believe he's at 91. I could be wrong. Could be less than that.
91, that's correct. 91
91
in counting.
and counting. I mean, it's unreal. And the fact of the matter is, he's winning in the polls. Like I've tuned into about 4 of the Republican debates, and you see, the last one standing is Nikki Haley, who is getting some quite good attention from both sides of the aisle, because I think a lot of people want to see change. A lot of people don't want to see the whole
Yeah.
repeat of Joe
Well,
Biden.
Arrington, is she
Mhm.
standing? Meaning, I mean, is she really in the race? She's
That's a good question. That's a good question, Dr.
she hasn't won. She hasn't won a caucus or a primary yet. So I don't
Very true.
like anything.
Well, like what was interesting about the New Hampshire caucus, now they said it wasn't all of New Hampshire. I believe it was like what 5% of the voters or Republican voters out in New Hampshire. So really it tallied up like 56,000 and some change that voted for Trump. So it wasn't like, the whole state voted for Trump, which is still not good for Nikki Haley. I mean, it means it's not awful, but you see the growth in third party candidates. You have Robert F. Kennedy, who is leading in the third party race. You have Cornel West, who's still involved. And then you have Jill Stein, who is a repeat presidential nominee representing, I believe, the Green Party, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct. The Green
Yeah,
Party.
so you have, and then you also have Dean Phillips, a congressman out of Minnesota, who is still staying in the race with on the presidential ticket. I mean, Dr. Claville, what are you hearing in conversations amongst young voters and just voters in general about this presidential race?
Arrington, hear me very well when I say this, and all your listeners. This race is going to be much closer than it should be.
Wow.
Okay? Now, for those of you that listen to me, of course, you're a listener, but in 2015, when the Republicans were running, it was 17 Republicans in the nomination, vying for the nomination of the Republican Party to run, and of course, everybody thought Jeb Bush was going to be the guy, and Chris Christie maybe. Ben Carson was running very strong as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was this guy that was last, named Donald Trump. He had maybe 0.5%. And I was on a show live and with some other political pundits, and they were asking, who do you think is going to win and get the nomination? And I said, listen, guys, there's this guy named Donald Trump. He's going to get the Republican nomination. You see how you're laughing? That's how everybody still your laugh.
That is crazy. Well, I remember I was actually I might have been a junior or senior, because this was when was it 2016, 2015 you mentioned?
Yeah, 2015 was the primary.
Okay.
Nation of the parties. 2016 was the election. So Hillary Clinton was the foregone nominee for the Democrats. Now, they laughed me off the show. They brought me back after Ted Cruz, last man standing, conceded.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they asked, well, who do you think is going to win the presidential? Because at that time, Hillary Clinton was 20 points up. Listen, this race is dead even. And I believe Trump's going to win this election, right? Mm-hmm. Again, okay, all right, no way's going to happen. Election day came, and then I predicted all the states that he would win except Nevada. So what ended up happening is that there was something happening in America where the Democrats were not excited about the Clinton nomination. And the Republicans were excited about this new Trump phenomenon. I believe right now we see the same thing happening. You have enough Republicans that are excited about the Trump phenomenon only because he is voicing their discontent with the change that's taking place. Not because they, he's the guy you invite to dinner, but because he's their mouthpiece, right? Mm-hmm. Democrats, especially the young Dems and progressives, are not excited about Biden. There are some problems that the Dems are having. They're not getting their message out, which is historical. I don't know why, but it is. Secondly, they are not really utilizing the bully pulpit like they should. Biden didn't, for the second year, didn't use the Super Bowl to talk about, great things. And again, they're not getting out in front of a lot of these issues and stories. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe the Biden administration has been one of the most successful, if not the most successful, administration in the past probably 20 years or more. If we go all the way back to Carter, Reagan, Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Obama, as it relates to what we had to deal with, right? We were in COVID, a world pandemic. You and I were talking with no mask on. We're out with no mask, right?
Well, people wearing a mask while they were driving cars. I'm like, your windows is up. I think you should be.
Look, we went from 1 million people dying from this unknown disease to now nominal, right?
Yeah.
We're looking at, the ability to get vaccines. We're looking at an economy that was, basically on a fiscal cliff. We're back, right? Stronger than ever. Inflation's a little high, but unemployment is extremely low. You look, jobs upon jobs upon jobs, $15 an hour, $20 an hour, sign-on bonus, the whole nine. That's our entire country, right?
Yeah.
So this, and not to mention the ending the longest war that we had in Afghanistan. My point is that the Biden administration has done a phenomenal job, but they just haven't communicated that, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, but he provided the first Black female Supreme Court justice, right? The first Black Secretary of Defense, right? The list goes on and on as relates to Black people and achievements during this administration. But again, the message is not there. But to close out this, I believe that there has been disappointment on the progressive side. as it relates to the dealings in the Middle East. There's been disappointment on the young African American side as it relates to promises towards student loans and other things on the business side, which Democrats have struggled with, providing a seat at the table for young African Americans, professionals and business entrepreneurs and business owners. So there's a lot of issues that are there, and we don't have a pandemic. We don't have a president that is creating chaos every day, which people were just tired of that under former President Trump.
Absolutely.
Right now, those polls that you are referring to are real. And it's very possible this race is much closer than it should be. And it's going to come down to the day of election. Who can get their voters to the polls?
Wow. I mean, it's a lot to impact on what you just said, Dr. Claville. I know for myself, and I know I have you on for just about two more minutes. We're about to be closing this conversation. And a lot of my liberal friends, kind of get a little frustrated when I say this, especially older people that that are in my family. I say this: Joe Biden, in my opinion, was the almighty replacement. At the end of the day, the election wasn't, in my opinion, in favor of Biden based on his, what he was gonna bring to the table. It was like, we just want to get Trump out of here. Like that was the main focus, and it was, and nobody was predicting that Biden was gonna be a 2-term president. I'm pretty sure during that process, while he was running, he said he wasn't gonna be a 2-term president. And then when he said he is, they were like, wait a minute, what you talking about, Joe? What you talking about? So now, and you mentioned too, the messaging it's spot on, and it's not good because with the Super Bowl, skipping that, and that can be that brings on the conversation, which we'll have on another time, about his age and saying, okay, maybe this is not a good idea. He makes this, message. He might accidentally this and then the other. And so they try to prevent him from doing a lot of conferences and a lot of, speaking publicly and this and that and the other. Cause they're like, okay, they're the conservative, the Republicans are waiting for him to slip up, and this is going to be great ammo for the next election. And it's sad because I feel as though you have a lot of great competitors in the Democratic Party that could be of the next in command. They can kind of groom up to be a candidate. As far as for on the Republican side, there is a division between the MAGA conservatives and the Republicans in general, right? You have your moderates, you have your good conservatives that mean well, and then you have your the Trump supporters. That's a totally different atmosphere. So I just and again, I'm a middle person. I've always said I have my disagreements with both sides. It's gonna be hard, and I don't want to speak on who I think will be winning it, but obviously we're not stupid. We see how it's looking right now. Real quick, could anything happen within the next, I believe, 9-8 months of this race, to maybe hurt Trump's numbers?
Well, I think not to hurt Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has 91 counts indictment. He has 4 trials that he's currently engaged in.
Mm-hmm.
And this is crazy, just even saying that. And nothing's hurt him yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So no, nothing. The more he gets indicted, his poll numbers go up.
Wow. Killing me.
I mean, listen, that is, I mean, this is a case study all by itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the question, I think, is, can anything happen to hurt Biden? And the answer is absolutely.
Wow.
The Middle East crisis can go just sideways, even more so than it is now. So other nations can get involved.
Mm-hmm.
He had an all-out World War III, or at the cusp of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but he can have some more episodes. You mentioned ageism. As a matter of fact, there was a show that I did on WNSB Hot 91, where we both have radio shows, and on the Claville Report for Sunday of February 19th,
mm-hmm.
where I talked about ageism. I'm sorry, February 18th, where I talked about ageism and the impact that age has on this election. So we have a president. He's the oldest serving president now. Will be the oldest elected president if he's elected. There's been a lot of gaps. But not only that, but we have older leadership across the board. Mitch McConnell, Jim Claville, who has stepped down from recently from Democratic leadership, but still running the election of his district.
Wow.
Across the board. So, yes, there was a lot of things that could hurt the current president, but nothing that could hurt the former president, Donald Trump. But there are a lot of things that can help him because his voters are excited, they're energized. And unfortunately, the Democratic voters for the Dems are not as excited. So they got to turn the heat up, turn up the volume, and see what's happening. But I do agree with your assessment. Biden wasn't the choice replacement, but he was simply the other choice, better than our country had in Trump.
Well, Dr. Claville, I could talk for you forever, and I know you're a very busy man. I truly thank you for taking out the time to come here on the Arrington Gavin podcast. Ladies and gents, please go to YouTube right now, subscribe to the Claville Report. You can get some great insight with what Dr. Claville has going on. And please be sure to tune in every Sundays to State of the Water, airing at 10 a.m. every Sundays on WNSB 91.1 FM. And also his show, The Claville Report, at 12:30 p.m. Same radio station, WNSB Hot 91.1 FM. And no worries if you are not in the Hampton Roads area and you cannot find them. Find it on the radio dial. Look, you download the app. It's free. WNSB app. Please. You get some great stuff from there. And Dr. Claville, I truly appreciate you again coming on. Anything you have to say before you leave? How can people continue to support you and all that great stuff?
Yeah, I think you said it. Continue to tune in to Hot 91 Solo VA and go to at the Claville Report, and you'll find all of our social media. You'll find all of our shows. Tune in every Sunday at 10 a.m. for Stay the Water, and also at 12:30 for the Claville Report. But right before me, 12 noon with Aaron Gavin.
That's right. In your city, y'all. In your city. Dr. Claville, I truly appreciate it, my friend. And look, once again, from a true expert, Dr. Claville, I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. Be sure to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays to the Arrington Gavin podcast, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Those are our audio version. And then if you want to see us, the video version of this podcast, that airs the same days, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via our YouTube channel, R Smooth Club Media. You can also, for you Rumble subscribers out there, you can check us out at the Arrington Gavin podcast on Rumble, R Smooth Club podcast on Facebook, as well as R Smooth Club Media on X, formerly known as Twitter. Until next time, my friends, I hope y'all have a blessed one. See you next time.